Often the best source of hope in a crisis is people committed to doing whatever it takes to try and save a life. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of danger, heroism, and faith on Rescue 911. July 11th, 1988, Bedford, Indiana, 8 p.m.
Video 54 proprietor Troy Salee was leaving and locking the front door.
Any chance we still run a video?
He convinced Troy to open the door and allow them to come in to rent videos. Three of the men accompanied Troy inside.
Hey, what you got over here?
Let me look, see what you got.
Yeah, that's right here.
Once inside the store, one of the men told him that this is a robbery.
Give me your keys. Open the register. Hurry up! Let's go. Come on. Get in here.
I'll be up front.
Trans line your back. Tilt your head back. Tilt your head back! Ah!
At 8:15 p.m., a call for help came in.
Hey, bud. This is Troy at Video 54.
Yeah.
I've been cut up. I've been robbed. How many hell you man?
Troy's late?
Yeah.
I'd known him for quite some time. It was a little strange coming from somebody you know, but the first priority is, of course, you know, do your job.
I'm in trouble, okay?
I assured him that officers were going to be on the way, told him not to hang up, and at that time I put on the ambulance service.
In a second, because they cut my neck.
Cut your neck?
Yeah, so hurry.
Okay.
I'm not going to make it if you don't get here.
Can I have contact number, please? Okay, where's the...
Dispatcher Brian Turpin put out a call over to police radio.
Okay.
131 Bedford.
31.
Have a 911 request for police. Video 54, Lincoln Plaza. Subject's been robbed.
Okay, I'll send them on their way.
Please hurry.
Ambulance service hung up, and so did Troy. I tried to call back, nobody answered, so I locked him in on our 911, so all he had to do is pick up.
The shift commander on duty that night was police officer Ken Bell.
As we entered the parking area, Mike Ragsdale, my senior patrolman, went to the front of the store, and we cruised through the lot checking to see if anybody's running away that might be involved in this robbery.
Officer Mike Ragsdale headed for the front door.
3133, front secure.
I looked around in the building through the door and windows, and I couldn't see anyone.
The door was locked.
You're hyped up, you're trying to get everything you can, and you can't get any information if nobody's there.
Police are emergency.
Hey, this is Troy.
Yeah, where you at, Troy?
In the video store.
They're out front.
I can't help it, man. I can't get out of the office.
Okay, you're in. You can't get all the doors are locked. 131 Bedford.
I heard the phone drop, so I don't know if he's okay, if he's fell down, if he's passed out, or what's happened.
A few seconds later, I saw someone walking out of the back room towards the front of the store.
31 I said you're coming out. He's down. I need to...
I knew Troy personally, and I thought he was a dead person at that point in time. I think I semi-panicked, and the only way to get into him was to break out the door glass, and we were not having any success even at that.
33 Bedford, send me a fire unit down here.
So at that time, I called and asked them to send a fire unit there.
Officer Ragsdale called me from the front of the store, and he advised that he needed assistance. The subject has collapsed on the floor.
I know him. He owns this place.
I stepped over the curb and looked inside, looked like he soaked blood, and wasn't moving at all. He was just motionless. My adrenaline was really pumping, and I thought time was against us, so I told Mike, just stand back, I'll get us into the store.
Cover him.
Mike, cover me, okay? Joe, cover Mike. He was just laying there lifeless. Bedford City Police, Ken Bell. I took my hand, I put down to his neck. When I did, I could feel warm blood. I could lift his neck back a little bit, and it looked like his neck had been slit from ear to ear.
Ken Bell applied pressure to Troy's neck to try and stop the bleeding.
This is Ken Bell, can you hear me? I kept looking at him, I said, can you hear me? This is Ken Bell, can you hear me? And he opened his eyes. He said, Ken. And he looked at me and he said, am I going to die? And I said, no, the ambulance will be here in a few minutes and they're going to take care of you. In my mind, I thought he was going to die. But I didn't know how to answer him. I said, Troy, I need to ask you some questions. What is that, Troy? He said, will you promise me something? Promise me you'll catch these guys that done this to me.
When police officers found Troy Salee lying on the floor of his video store, he was bleeding to death from multiple stab wounds suffered during a robbery. Police officer Ken Bell was doing anything he could to try to keep Troy alive until paramedics could get to the scene.
Troy, we'll need your help on that, all right? Can you answer some questions for me? I said, we have no witnesses but you. You've got to stay with us. You've got to give me some specific information. Just lay still, okay? From that point, it seemed like everything just slowed down. I need your help. Can you tell me what happened? I asked him how many were there. He said there was 4. One of them had a gun, one of them had a knife. What kind of car was it? I said, can you tell me anything about the car?
Silver.
It was a silver car, you know the year? I knew that'd be important because if it was their escape vehicle, then we'd have to have a description of the car. What was it, a 78 Chevy?
78 Chevy Malibu.
Okay, 78 Chevy Malibu. Is there anything, think a minute, all right? I said, can you tell me anything about it that might help us identify it right away? And Troy said, yes, it's got a temporary dealer plate in the back window behind the driver. And I was just amazed that this man is laying here with all these stab wounds in him, and he can sit there and give me this information. The EMTs are here now. Here comes the ambulance, all right?
One of the first paramedics on the scene was Sherry Hansen.
He had multiple stab wounds. After we hit about 20, we stopped counting. We also found a sucking chest wound. It was an indication that he had a puncture into the lining of the lung.
Okay? I need you to fight, all right?
Detective Commander Paul Endress arrived and took over the investigation.
Once I had the information about what had happened and I saw all the blood inside the store, my thoughts were we were dealing with some very ruthless and gruesome men. We needed to get them, and we needed to get them fast.
Ken relayed the information gathered from Troy back to headquarters.
Turpin, it's Major Bell.
Got it. At that time, I dispatched it to the other communities, so everybody, north, south, east, and west, get the communication.
Requesting to investigate reference armed robbery occurred in this city approximately
30 miles away in Brownstown, Lieutenant Paul Starr was on routine patrol.
I'd been there about 6 or 7 minutes, and a gray Chevrolet with a temporary license plate stopped at a self-service service station. I called my dispatch and asked if one of these individuals in his car had on a white or a light-colored shirt.
Hold on, I have an emergency call.
Dispatcher Brian Turpin confirmed that one of the suspects was wearing a light-colored shirt.
36-25-3, I believe this is a suspect vehicle. You might give me some backup started this way.
When Troy's parents, Marge and Bob Salee, showed up at the scene, officers would not allow them to enter the store.
I figured they wanted to keep me out of there because there was no life left in him. I was just paralyzed nearly. It was an eerie feeling.
I did not let go of his neck because we thought that possibly he had gotten into the jugular vein. So I requested that dispatch contact the 2 surgeons and have them into ER stat.
I got where my lights would shine in the back window of the car, and the individual on the left ear had a long dangling earring.
Would you contact Bedford again?
So I got back with my dispatch, and they confirmed that yes, one of these individuals did have a red t-shirt and a long earring. I stayed with the vehicle, and we were getting close to a government housing project. So at this time I said, best give me some help as soon as you can. If they get out of this car and get in this project, we're in for a shootout.
At Bedford Medical Center, Troy's mother finally got to speak to him.
He was worse than I thought he would be. I kept saying to myself, you can't cry. You know, I thought if he sees me crying, he's going to get all excited about this. I just stood there and I said, "You're going to make it." And he said, I'll make it. And then he said, "I love you guys." I kind of thought, you suppose that's the last time he'll say that?
They pulled into the project, pulled up to the curb, and the vehicle stopped. The back doors of it opened. By this time, I was out of my patrol car.
Stay in the vehicle. Close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. Close the other door, I'll blow it off.
I was thinking to myself, I hope they don't get out, because if they do, I'm in trouble.
Put your hands up where I can see them.
We found not only the gun used to hold on Troy, we also found the knife used to cut Troy's throat. In the back seat, we found the billfold stolen from Troy.
Also found in the car was evidence linking 3 of the suspects to the kidnapping and murder of a young woman in Kentucky. All of the men are currently serving long-term sentences at Indiana State Prison.
The apprehension of the suspects was successful not only because of the cooperation of all the police agencies in the area, but also because of the heads-up play of Troy.
Troy Silly not only survived, but has completely recovered.
What kept me going was that I was real intense and wanting to be able to catch guys that would do this to somebody. I knew the only way I could get back at them if I stayed alive.
Everybody said, "Well, you'll have to sell that video store. That kid will never be able to go back in there." And he was chomping the bit to get back in that video store. I think he's fabulous.
I think the paramedics and the policemen did a fantastic job. I don't think there could have been any better. They were there real quick, and I feel like they're the reason he lived.
For a team to act like that and to respond like they did and get me to the hospital and take care of me, I think they deserve a lot of credit. I owe them my life.